Hi, I'm Mary from Pilates Malaysia, a physiotherapist and STOTT Pilates instructor. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a few dynamic warm-ups you can do before your run and also how to incorporate your core and your lower limbs together to improve your running performance. So the first exercise is called the forward lunges. Make sure that both knees are almost at a 90-90 angle. You can do this for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 sets each side. And your knee shouldn't be passing the toes this way, and do not collapse the body this way. Make sure that you are upright and engaging the core. Next is the alternating side lunges. This exercise is great to activate your hip abductors and hip stabilizing muscles. Not to mention, it is a great strengthening exercise too. Throughout the movement, make sure that your core is constantly engaged and your chest is facing forward. Make sure you're not collapsing the knee inwards or outwards or looking down to the ground. Do this for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 sets. Next is the rocking lunges. Make sure that the knee is right above the ankle joint. You're going to breathe out to push the hip back and breathe in to return. Throughout the exercise, try to push the knee down as far as you can and keeping the pelvic as neutral as possible. This exercise is not only a great dynamic warm-up for your hamstrings but also a dynamic stretch. Be very cautious that your body is not collapsing forward this way as you do the movement, and also make sure that your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Do this for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 sets and then switch sides. While you're on a lunge position, you can go into ankle mobilization exercise. This exercise does not only warms up the ankle joint but also giving a dynamic stretch for your calf muscles. To progress, you can lift your hands off the ground, keep your body upright with your core engaged. Make sure that your hip is always parallel and square throughout the movement. Next is the single leg bridging exercise. Make sure that your legs are hip distance apart and your pelvic is in neutral position. You're gonna lift the bum up and make sure that your shoulders, hip and knee is in the same line. Then you can proceed to lift one leg up. Either straighten the leg this way or bend the knees. You're gonna breathe in to lower, exhale to lift the bum. So you can do this exercise for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 to 4 sets, making sure that both glutes are activating at the same time, pushing through the heels. Make sure that you are not collapsing your pelvic this way, keeping the pelvic square and engaging the core throughout the exercise. Next is quite a challenge. You are going to try the side plank with hip abduction exercise. While you're on a side plank, make sure that your shoulders are pushing away from the floor, hips are lifted high and your legs are stacked on each other. While you're on the side plank, you're gonna go into a hip abduction movement, so your legs shouldn't go too high. It's as far as your hip can stabilize. This exercise is a great way to challenge your core muscles, especially the obliques muscle and your hip abductors. Do not drop the hip this way and maintain your pelvic as neutral as possible. As you can see from the back view, my head, my spine and my pelvic is in one straight line. You're gonna do this exercise for 10 to 12 repetitions each side for 3 sets. A lot of muscles are working simultaneously in this exercise, including the scapula stabilizers, deep core muscles, hip stabilizing muscles, and not to mention your hip abductors. Next exercise is the jumping squat. So you're going to go into a sumo squat position where your hips are turned out. You're going to breathe in to bend the knee and exhale to jump. Make sure that your posterior chain muscles are powering through this movement and your toes are landing softly to the ground. I'm going to show you the side view for this exercise. As you can see that the chest is always facing forward and have a sensation that you're sitting back to a stool. Make sure the weight distribution is right in the middle of the feet and not to the toes. And you can use your arm swings as a momentum. You can even do this with a narrow squat position. Do take note that different squat positions work slightly different muscle groups. You can do this exercise for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 sets. Be very aware that you're not collapsing the body this way while you are doing this plyometric movement. Last but not least, it is the Bulgarian Split Squat. Your back leg is resting on a chair or a bench that is around knee height, and your front standing leg is the one powering through the movement. It is also important to note that the front knee shouldn't pass too far away from your toes, and then you can change sides. You can do this exercise for 10 to 12 repetitions for 3 to 4 sets. And you have to make sure that your pelvic does not open up this way. Make sure it's square, chest is up, and your gaze looking forward. You can progress this exercise by adding a plyometric element to it. Make sure that the toes are landing softly to the ground. So that is all for the video. If you have an inquiry, do visit our Instagram and Facebook page. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, stay safe. Bye-bye.